It is now in order to consider Amendment Number 29, printed in Part B of House Report 116-154. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Minnesota seek recognition?
Madam Chair, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 29, printed in Part B of House Report number 116-154, offered by Ms. Omar of Minnesota.
Pursuant to the House Resolution 491, the gentlewoman from Minnesota, Ms. Omar, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Minnesota.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My amendment mandates reporting on the foreign governments with whom we share access to the terrorist screening database. The database is shared with more than 60 foreign governments, including countries with appalling human rights records, such as Saudi Arabia and China. An FBI official has acknowledged in a sworn testimony that it has never stopped sharing watch list information with a foreign government because of that government's human rights abuses. Many of the people who are included in the database have never been charged with a crime, and yet we share sensitive information about them with the same government that murdered Jamal Khashoggi. I have also received credible reports that there have been Uyghurs added to the database at the request of the Chinese government. Madam Chair, think about that. There is a universal outrage in Washington about the treatment of the Uyghurs population in China. What are we talking about? Let's be clear. These are the precursors to genocide. And while it is happening, while members of both sides of the aisle and the Secretary of State are condemning what's happening, we are allowing the Chinese government to add Uyghurs to the terrorist screening database. We are allowing them to track Uyghurs in the United States. This is probably the most appalling aspect of our sharing this information with governments that violate human rights. But it's not the only appalling aspect. One thing we know for sure, in almost 2 decades that we have been fighting the war on terror, is that dictators have been more than happy to call whoever opposes them a terrorist. The Saudis, whose family is directly directed, proven clear financial links to Al-Qaeda, are given access to this database. The Saudis, who have rounded up human rights activists, tortured them, mass executed them, claiming they are terrorists, get to add people on this list. It is entirely possible that they get to add American citizens on this list. This is incompatible with the free society. It is incompatible with our essential concepts of civil liberties. It is important to note that the evidentiary standard for being placed in the database is very low. The government only needs reasonable suspicion that someone is involved in terrorism, which is not even enough to charge someone with a crime. It is also significant that individuals added to this database are not informed of their placement and have suffered preventable harms as a result. So my amendment asks some basic questions that we as members of Congress have not only a right to, but a responsibility to ask. I ask my colleagues to support this amendment. If you are concerned about civil liberties, you should be concerned about this. If you're concerned about human rights abroad, you should be concerned about this. And no matter how you feel about the database itself, this amendment asks that we need answers in order to make informed decisions about our national security policy. I reserve the balance of my time.